Today's episode is brought to you by Noah's Beard Oils. For those of you that are trying to grow out your Fu Manchu like myself, or you're doing that whole Sasquatch Pacific Northwest look, well, go to Instagram.com/Noah's Beard Oils. Everything you need to moisturize and also just to freshen up. I have 2 bottles myself. I have a bottle of Fresh and also a bottle of Calm. So if you want to look good, go to Instagram.com/Noah's Beard Oils. They accept Cash App and other types of payments. Don't forget to use my promo code GLOW808 for free shipping off your entire order. Today's episode is brought to you by Archon Mounts. For those of you that are content creators and you want the best mounting solutions for your cell phones, your DSLR cameras, well, go to Archon.com. Be sure to use my promo code Hawaii and you'll get 20% off your entire order. Also, all of their products come with a lifetime guarantee. So head on over to Archon.com, keeping your devices within reach.
To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds can stack back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand firm.
We are live. Okay, here we go. What's up? Sorry, I didn't catch up on the comments. Good to see you guys. I see TNT, Brother Sev, I see you. I'm hoping that my camera is not flickering. On my desktop, it is. When I use the Chrome extension, it's good to see you, Brother Vladimir. Yes, sir. If you guys don't know who Vladimir is, you need to know who he is. And we are live. By the way, we are live on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, on X as well. Obviously, we're on X. If you don't know what Kick or Twitch are, they're basically the same thing. One is newer, one is older. But, okay, good. Thank you for the confirmation on camera. This is what we're going to do. We're officially launching on Monday, and we're kind of doing a prequel tonight. And this is nothing crazy special. There's nothing profound or nothing of epic proportions that we're going to talk about. It's really just me sharing my heart. We're going to talk, obviously, about everything from elections to you name it, everything. Elections, current events, and the whole idea of me doing these is to stay connected with you guys, but also for those of you that are listeners or viewers of my podcast, it's Glow Sessions podcast. So this is kind of an extension of that, where I'm just going to do dailies. I got the idea from people that are already doing it, so it's not like it's something that hasn't been done before, and it's just me sharing my heart. We're going to cover some things that I've been some crazy things. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about the guests that he's had. I guess you could say it's kind of like a podcast, something to that effect. Podcast is more conversational and very focused. This would be more of a show of things to cover. And my idea is just to write things out, right? To script it out, not just to go free flowing, free balling. You know, we're gonna talk about free balling in a second. But it's really to connect and to talk about current events. Obviously, the election's coming up on Tuesday. I can't even read my own writing. It's crazy. We're gonna talk about platforms that people are using. I know that X has a lot of momentum, but I also believe that X is carved out in a very specific niche right now. And I think once the floodgates open, I think after this election cycle, I think things are going to change a lot. We're going to talk about Optimus. We're going to talk about my dog. We'll talk about my dog, Lily. What else? We're going to talk about Biden when he said smack. And I won't say it because I don't swear, but Biden had another gaffe. I don't think it's a gaffe, but I think Biden might be... it's almost like he's trying to sabotage. That's what I think. I think he's trying to sabotage his own part. I don't know, and that's just speculation. We're going to talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He put out a statement today or yesterday. I've kind of been in and out of social media just because of our dog and just other things too. But with Trump and Robert F. Kennedy locking arms and joining forces, there was a statement saying that on, I forget the date, January 10th or something to that effect, he said that they're going to start removing or mandating fluoride to be taken out. And we'll pull it all up on screen. What else? I got a lot of notes. So we're going to talk about Cardi B. Okay, we're going to talk about her in a few seconds, and we're going to talk about Jennifer Lopez. I am not a political person, but I am very much so. I'm very interested by elections and governments in the sense of having a healthy government. And I'll just say this right now, right in the very beginning. I am voting for Trump. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am not a Libertarian. I'm just voting for who I feel that my wife and I are in agreement. We're going to talk about that. And that's one of the things when I do podcasts, which are more focused on conversations that are very tailored towards a person. And then I can't say just yet because I keep telling you guys I have a podcast coming up with a very special guest, but I don't have it solidified yet. So on Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to meet with the restaurant of the places that I'm going to do these organic podcasts with. So add Fortnite. I could add Fortnite. That Cardi B skin. You know what? Let me look it up. I just found it interesting that let's go right into it. I found it interesting that Cardi B, she struggled with her teleprompter. Let me ask you guys a question. So this is not just for X. Okay, I've got the most engagement on X, but for those of you on my YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble, I'm gonna ask you guys the same question. What do you guys think about celebrities coming up and speaking, for their candidates, whether it's Trump or Kamala Harris? And I find it interesting that there is a unique contrast. Let me look at Cardi B. And here's the other question: where do you guys get your news from? Cardi B. Now, where do you guys get your news from? Your news sources from? Cardi B teleprompter. I've been getting mine from X, Twitter, for those of you that don't call it X, because it's more it's unfiltered or not as what's the word? It's not as, I guess filtered is the word. Censored. That's what I was looking for. And that's what I feel. Man, my Chrome browser is really freezing up. That's okay. But I'll pull it up as soon as I can get it. Where is it? Where is it? Where are you? So going back to Cardi B. Wait. Hold on. What just? I'm on my Kick. Sorry. I got so many windows open. I have like 5 windows open. Let's pull up TNT real quick. My phone is vibrating. If I were to answer honestly, I would like to read all the news because I make my choices by myself. X so far has been checking out to be true. So for those of you that are on Kick Rumble Twitch or Kick Rumble Twitch, YouTube. Yeah, Kick Rumble Twitch, YouTube. Wow, that's a lot. TNT is a content creator on X. In case you're wondering who that is. I don't use a lot of mainstream media sources. I don't use MSNBC. I don't even use Fox or CNN. None of that. I'll see the headlines if it's something funny. And that's one thing I do appreciate about X is when Elon puts up something that's political. Most of the time it's either funny or extremely thought-provoking. It's never, in my opinion anyway, I don't think it's something meant to be deceptive in any way. That's my perception of Elon. So the bulk of my news sources or any news will come from, and I take that back. Some of my news comes from YouTube as well. So my wife and I, when we watch YouTube shorts, if you've ever seen us laugh or hear us laugh, a lot of those funnies come from Instagram shorts or YouTube shorts. So I can't pull up the Cardi B, but I will pull up the Biden. This one really got my attention today. I'm going to put it up on screen. I hope that my computer will let me do it. But Biden made a statement, was it today or yesterday? And he said that, let's pull this Kick out of here. He said that I like to smack whatever. In Hawaii, we say okole, which is, and I don't know what he was trying to say. I can't pull it up. They won't let me do it tonight. Well, that's okay. But he made a statement. I don't know. He was campaigning for Kamala Harris and speaking, whatever it was. And he says, in relation to Trump, he said that that's the kind of guys you want to smack her okole. And I'm thinking, What an interesting thing to say, for him to say something like that. Sorry, I had some noise. So I don't. That's why I said earlier, is he sabotaging the Trump campaign? I mean, not Trump, the the Kamala Harris campaign, because the other one where he put on the MAGA hat, that was just bizarre that he put on that hat. That didn't make sense to me. I don't understand why he did that. But there was something else that he did. I can't remember what it was. So that, and then him saying, "I like to, smack that guy's Okole," or I don't even understand. I really don't understand that. So let me put the pause in politics for a second. So come Monday, we're going to be doing a daily. For those that came in earlier. So 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Pacific, no, 12 p.m. Eastern. And then I think that's let me do the math. I used to be really good about the math. So if it's 9, 6, 5, let's do the math. 5. So I'm gonna say it's 5 p.m. in the UK. I think my math should be pretty close. And then if you are in Japan, it'll be 8 hours ahead. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wait, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So it'll be 1 p.m., but on the next day in Japan. So anyways, I don't want to bore you with that. So anyways, we're doing this show 5 days a week, Mondays through Fridays. And it's going to be about an hour. And we're going to cover everything from, obviously, because it's going to be starting at right around election, politics, government. But everything that I'm going to talk about will always be what I call based on with a kingdom perspective. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me or my wife, our journey on social media happened in the middle of us being in ministry. At the time, I was a worship leader of a church, and some of you guys have grown with me. You've seen me grow from being just a guy that would do simple content creation videos, and then you see me do live streams, and then you join me in a journey from opening a drug and alcohol rehab. We had a drug and alcohol rehab in Honolulu or Kailua, Hawaii. At the same time, we became pastors of a church. And so now that we're, fast forward all the way to 2024, there's a lot of things that are on my heart that I want to share, but also it's not just a ministry tool for us, but it's really to break bread with you guys, to share life with you guys, and also to be able to cover things that are important. I think up until 2 weeks ago, I was never really outright saying, "Hey, this is who I'm going to vote for." I don't know why, to be honest with you. I don't know why that is. I think part of me was that I don't want. I think for us as content creators, we don't want to put a fire on a bridge, and just something God put in my heart. You know what? It's like, I think it's time. And I think Pastor Chris, I think that's his name, had mentioned something. We did a political discussion recently. He says, as the body of Christ, you should be willing, right? Being bold about not just what you believe in Christianity, but also be bold in your life in general. If this is what you believe, you should have no problem sharing that, especially in the area of government. And I think, at least for me, some of the political views that we've had, we were never outright just throwing it out there. But this is the first time in any election that I've been very open and vocal about it. And I'll say this: I am not, we don't believe that any president is the Messiah or the deliverer of peoples. I do believe that a good, healthy government, it does require a leader that, I don't think they have to be perfect, but I think they have to align with what your personal values are. And where we are now, there's these two candidates that are running, and it seems like it's neck to neck, but part of me doesn't believe that it is neck to neck. I don't think it's as close as they want you to think on both sides. I think that's a good strategy in the era of politics, that if you let your people know that, hey, it's really close, I think it'll encourage people to come out and vote. If one says, you know what, we're so far behind, I can imagine there's a lot of people like, you know what, why would I even vote, right? And then there's some that, like, you know what, we're so far ahead, I'm not going to vote. And so either way, it's not a good scenario. So I don't, my personal belief, I don't think I don't know though. I don't want to say guarantee because yeah, but we all know that in 2016 that the election cycles, um, it seemed like it was in favor of Hillary Clinton. When election time came, it was completely radically different. So, anyways, our show, that's what we're going to do Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, until we feel that God is calling us otherwise. And it's just something, I think, for me, experimental. I think it's going to, for me, I think it's going to be a lot of work, just because I don't want to just push the go live button and be in Hawaii. I don't know if I can say it that way, but we don't want to do things poorly. I want to do it with excellence. So it's going to take a little bit of work on, obviously, scripting, prep work, and doing little fancy little videos, because that's what I like. And then you'll see me doing my mobile live stream videos. But it's all about being live. Live streaming video is where it's at, because I can't cover up. Once it's there, it's there. And I love the pressure of it all. So that's where we're going to deliver Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. for my Hawaiian peeps. So if you're up early, you can get a dose of the real G-Lo. I don't know what we're going to call it yet. We're just going to ride we're going to piggyback the Glow Sessions, not necessarily the podcast format, but the Glow Sessions media. So that's our company's Glow Sessions. And then I think the little header I had in the beginning was Talk Story with a Kingdom Perspective. So that may be what we're going to run it through. I'm not sure. But that's that. So let me see if my videos, my Chrome browser is really, really struggling tonight. It's very interesting. You know what? Let me remove it. That could be why I stopped screen. There we go. Sometimes my Chrome browser is there. We go. Now we can pull it up. So talking about Biden, I want to just share, and I don't condone the language, but it's not really that harsh of a language, but it's still, let's put it up there for you guys. Check this out. Share screen. This is Biden. I'm not sure if it was today. I don't know when it was, but let's put it up there.
To smack in the ass. But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass. But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
I don't know what that means. But that's what I was saying earlier. I don't understand. Is that something that, is he coherent? Number one. I think he is to some degree. But why did he say that? Whether you're coherent or not coherent, like what is the purpose of saying that? I know, trying to be a tough guy, but I don't know too many tough guys that would see something like that. I don't know any tough guys that would say, yeah, I'm gonna, I don't know. It's very bizarre. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. So that was what I was saying earlier. Is he trying to sabotage? What is he trying to do? And by the way, let me take a minute to recognize my YouTube and my Twitch family. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you guys being on here. Let me find another one for you. I think now that I'm not sharing, it should help. It's stop screen. There we go. I want to pull up the Cardi B, because I think that one was very, for me, it was interesting that Cardi B, her teleprompter went out. So let's just see if it just pulls up. Does it pull up? There we go. Yeah, okay, let me pull this up. Check this out. And guys, I am not politically charged in any way, but I want to paint a picture and we'll talk about it. Check this out. Cardi B. So let me just lead in with this, that her teleprompter malfunctioned, and this is what happens.
1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay. So I don't take lightly the call. Sorry, guys. I'm a little nervous. Guys. I've been waiting for this moment this whole life. My whole life. I need patience over here. Patience, where are you, girl? I need patience over here. Hold on. How you guys doing tonight? How you guys doing tonight? Are we ready to make history? Are we ready to make history? Are we ready to change these 4 years? No. Are we ready to change the next 8 years? Because we're going to make sure we have Kamala Harris in office for 8 years.
Okay, so let me that is confusing to me. Now, I have no negative opinions about Cardi B. I don't know. I really don't know who she is. I don't listen to her music. I've heard maybe a song or two, maybe in passing. I don't like that type of music. I don't like when music is explicit. From what I gather, she has explicit music. I don't listen to that type of music. I don't have my kids listen to it. That being said, I don't know. From what I gather, she's very, very popular. I think she's extremely wealthy from her music. I also think she's used to being in front of millions of people every year. So for her to say she's nervous, I find that interesting. Usually nervousness comes for me. Let me share. I've never spoken in front of 60,000 people, or like when I speak, it doesn't matter if it's 10 people, one person, or 1,000. The most people that I've, like, for example, I used to play music. Well, I still play music, but there was in Hawaii, we call it the Aloha Stadium. So we had it was like a prayer conference. And so I was a part of a worship team where we played in front of, at that time, I think it was like 25,000 people, maybe. The stadium can hold 60 or 50,000, but it wasn't full. It was like maybe half full. And so, I've played in front of that, and that was nervous for me. I didn't get up in front of a mic or anything. I was playing music. That was, but I knew what I was there for. I knew exactly the songs we were going to play. I knew exactly what my job was when I got up there. Just do this and play this instrument. And we have a band. We have a team. That's why I find it peculiar that someone who is a professional musician, she's actually a professional performer, and she goes live every day. Well, not every day. Take that back. She goes live a lot, just for like social media. And of course, she's a performer, so I find it strange and so in that clip, it's like, it's very it's, I don't know if it's cringe is the right word. It's awkward. I'll tell you this. Let me play it again, and so you guys can get context. Let me put up again, and then I'll finish my thoughts on her, and then we'll move on. But listen to this part where she says she's asking for her. I think that's her assistant. Watch this.
Okay. So I don't take lightly the call.
She freezes up here. I think she was trying to just wing it, right? But she freezes up.
Sorry, guys. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous, guys. I've been waiting for this moment this whole life, my whole life. I need patience over here.
Okay, so I'm guessing Patience is her assistant. So, like I said, I'm not bad mouthing Cardi B or anything, but I just find it strange that this is what you do for a living. And I get it. She's been waiting for this moment her whole life, is what she said. Yeah, I don't know the whole life thing either, right? But here's the thing. If I know you and I like you and I don't have a teleprompter, I'll just talk about you. You know, man, I love TNT. You know, TNT, man, he's been like putting out some amazing stuff, and I haven't known him that long. But you know what? From what I've been observing and just looking at his content, amazing, epic, beautiful, legendary. It's like, wow, I don't even know the guy. Look how beautiful his work is. Like just the AI art and even the ability to just put these images together and have them animated. It's crazy. It's not that hard to do that if you really like the person, right? It's not that hard to talk about something if you truly genuinely like their content or who they are as a person. And so I find that very, here's what the word I use. I find it very suspicious that there's a lot of celebrities coming forward, and for me it doesn't seem like it's heartfelt. So to me, that there's a statement I put out on social media. I wish I could pull it up or remember, but I said that I'm going to try to paraphrase my own tweet. And I said that the shroud is slowly being lifted off of the machine. And the people that are still plugged into the machine are being exposed either willingly or under duress. That's what I said. I think that's kind of generally what I said. So I said that the shroud that's covering the machine is being exposed, and those that are still plugged into the machine are being exposed either willingly or under duress. And let me explain that. So for me, when I say under duress, that will be Harvey Weinstein. That'll be who's the Kevin Spacey, P. Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein in East Coast. Oh, you found it. Thank you. Thank you for. I wish you could post links up on here. It won't let me. Thank you for finding it. All those people, and part of my thinking also, and this can be debatable, obviously. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince. Those are all people that I feel that were plugged into the machine of sorts. And I'm not just talking about political machines. There's, but they're being exposed, right? Either willingly now or under duress. And let me talk about the willingly. Part of me feels that the people that are endorsing Kamala Harris, for example, Cardi B is a great example. Just from that alone, I'm judging, and it feels like I don't know if that's genuine. Nervousness is one thing, but if you're genuinely in love with somebody or connected to somebody and you truly do endorse them, it's not that hard to talk about them. It's really not, if you truly believe in them. So that's my little rant on Cardi B. I won't finish playing it again because we already played it, I think, twice. I want to talk about the fluoride removal, because this is what I shared. So this is Robert F. Kennedy. Let's pull this up. We'll come back to the machine, but let's pull this up. So this is Robert F. Kennedy's. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's kind of small. How do I post this bugger? So I'll make me small. I am small. So anyways, let me just see if I can. Let's get my DMs out of there. Can I close? I guess I could do full screen on the professional. So I'll just read it. So on January 20th, actually I said 10th, January 20th, this is what RFK said, RFK Jr. Trump White House will advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride from public water. Fluoride is an industrial waste associated with arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer, IQ loss, neurodevelopmental disorders, and thyroid disease. So his platform will be Make America Healthy Again. Two things that struck me on this. And the one thing that got my attention on this was, why is he already making plans for January 20th? Right? So this is just me talking. There's no facts. There's no sources. But I find it interesting that he's already making plans for January 10th, 20th. Does he know something that we don't? Does he? Is he pulling the trigger a little bit early? Or is he just prophesying? Is he speaking it into existence? And there's not a lot to talk about that. But I think Robert F. Kennedy, we'll talk about the political machine. We talked about Cardi B and Kamala Harris. And we'll come back to Kamala Harris because she had something I wanted to share also. But let's pull this up on screen. And going back to the news sources that I asked, the question I asked earlier, like, where are you guys getting your news sources from? For me, predominantly, is that the right word? Is X, Twitter. And part of it is not because they're leaning a certain way. I just feel like when I get information from X, whether it's true or false, whatever it may be, I find it interesting for me because I don't feel like they're trying to trick me or sell me on this idea. Yeah. Good example. If I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up and you guys can look at it. So I don't know how many of you guys watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Donald Trump. And I'm very glad that Donald Trump did it. I don't think it was a very deep podcast in the area of policy or campaign information. That's what people were looking. I don't think that was the intent. Joe Rogan, watch this. Joe Rogan, Donald Trump. Look it up, Donald Trump. Let's do CNN. I think it was a day after the podcast. CNN came out with a fact check. And I think they found 33 things that they found to be wrong. Yeah, here it is. We'll pull it up on screen. So check this out. You're 2 hours in. It was a very, for me, I love podcasts because I can multitask, I can drive. The one thing that got my attention about this Trump podcast, here's the first thing. Number one, it was 3 hours long. It was actually, I think it was longer than 3 hours because they don't record the whole thing. They have a discussion. So Trump was in his studio for about an hour. Well, I don't know. I can't fact check that, but he was in the studio a good portion before they actually started recording. Same with JD Vance. JD Vance was in there almost 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken, or whatever it was. So I think it's I think those conversations are important. And whether they're true or not, let me pull it up and then we'll talk about how important it is to have those discussions. Stop screen. Check this out. Let's pull up the CNN. So after the podcast with Joe Rogan, CNN put this up. Fact check. 32 false claims Trump made to Joe Rogan. This was literally the day after the podcast. So that shows that they were watching. Somebody was watching, right? And then Joe Rogan put up something the same day they put that. He goes, is anybody surprised that they fact-checked his podcast? And here's what I'll say. I don't watch a podcast to get facts. At least I don't. I will listen or watch a podcast, or I don't go to Twitter for facts. I don't go to CNN or Fox News, or I don't go to those places for facts. I go there to see what they're reporting or what they're talking about. It's up to us to make a decision what is fact and what is not, right? So when I watch I will say this: Donald Trump he's a comedian. He's a very funny guy. At least I think he is. There was a part where he told Joe Rogan, "Yeah, I'm not trying to get attention, or I'm not trying to. I don't know, Joe. Maybe you could tell me." And Joe Rogan says, "I can tell you why. You see some crazy stuff." And of course, he swears, right? And Trump couldn't deny that. Trump was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." And Joe Rogan's laughing. And so it's that conversation that I'm talking about that is important to have. You've got to be able and willing to have those discussions where I call so my podcast, when I do a podcast, for me, I call them living room discussions, right? Or dining room discussions. And the reason why I call it that, so every guest that I have, I always tell them, for me personally, I don't have a time constraint. Although I do, I have everything in writing. I have a certain time constraint. I think my limit is 4 hours before I gotta go eat or go bathroom. But I tell them there's no time constraints. There's no drilling of questions. I do have topics that I want to talk about. And I also tell them, if at any time you have to go, this is how we close it out. And we have a system that's how I do it. And the reason why that's important for me is that it gives the person that's on the other end an opportunity to feel comfortable just sharing what's on their heart, not what's on their list of bullet points, not what someone on the outside is telling them to say. And I think Joe Rogan has mastered that art of getting people comfortable to say things that maybe they have not said outside of that studio. I don't know if Trump said anything different, because I think Trump is, for the most part, from what I gather, I think he's what he says is whether you like it or not, you understand what he's saying, right? With Kamala Harris, I don't know. I have a hard time understanding what she's trying to say. It is challenging. So let me see if I can find some Kamala Harris. She didn't make the news today, or did she? Let me look it up. There's a lot of Trump stuff going on. We'll talk about Fetterman. He actually did the Joe Rogan podcast, which is here we go. I have a. So speaking of Kamala Harris, let's pull this up. I want you guys to watch this. And guys, this is not a political show, but this is something that's happening that I wanted to talk about. Started making clips and found that every 10 seconds I had one, but I dropped them all because it was too much. You know what's funny is there's so much material in Joe Rogan's podcast, and I have so many. So on my Google account, when I last checked, I have 16,000 photos, and I want to say about 5,000 videos. And a lot of those videos are screen video captures, and I mean all kinds of videos. But I have so many videos that I have yet to post, and I'm not sure if it would be good material or not. There's just so much, and a lot of it's Joe Rogan too. So I want you guys to listen to this. This is Kamala Harris, and this is from her campaign Twitter. Okay, so it's not like I'm not trying to paint a picture that's negative or positive. I just want to put it out there. Let's close this. Stop screen. Here's Kamala Harris from her campaign headquarters Twitter account. Let's see if we can understand what she's saying.
I also want to speak to the comments that have been recently made by the Speaker of the House. It is just further evidence of everything that I've actually been talking about for months now about Trump's intention to implement Project 2025. We have talked repeatedly, and the American people know what's in it. We've talked repeatedly about their intention to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, now to get rid of the CHIPS Act. And let's talk about manufacturing, which is a critical issue for many of the states that will make the difference in this election. Donald Trump, when he was president, lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. We have created over 700 new manufacturing jobs. It is my plan and intention to continue to invest in American manufacturing, the work being done by American workers, upholding and lifting up good union jobs, which are good paying jobs, and doing the work of investing in American industries, including our industries of the future. That is the way we are going to win the competition with China for the 21st century, and that is the kind of leadership that America deserves in their president.
I'm probably gonna have to listen to it again. I ain't gonna lie. But that was pretty good for the most part. I think it was to the point. She did say something that I don't even know the words. I use a deflectionary language. That's what I call it, at least with my kids. So if I ask my kids, "Hey, did you take the apple?" Right? If my kids, one of my oldest daughter, God bless her, she's married, she's out of the house, she's our first child, but she would use a lot of what I call deflectionary language. Okay, so for example, if I say, like, "Did you take the apple?" Right? The comment would be, or the response would be, "Well, the apple, Dad, that was on the table, as we all know, the table, it's, as we know, Dad, the dinner table was in the dining room, right, Dad?" And so when the apple, it fell into my backpack, as you know, backpacks are great for school, Dad. And as it fell into my backpack, we left the house. And as you know, when we leave the house, it's we're in a rush, and there's just so many things going on. You're late for work, mom's late for work, and there's so many things going on. And that the apple was in my bag. And as you know, apples are very sweet and delicious. That's what I call deflectionary language. And I noticed that Kamala Harris does that a lot. She's nowhere near as good as Obama. Obama is great at it, but I don't think Obama uses deflectionary language like she does. I think Obama does, for the most part. At least I think he has in the past. He would answer the question. With Kamala Harris, I don't think she answers the question. And this is not her being interrogated or interviewed, but what she said, this is what I found important. Let me see if I can rewind it and play it back. Let's see.
We have talked repeatedly, and the American people know what's in it. We've talked.
Okay, so she said that, Trump implementing Project 2025, and she says that the majority. Let me see. Let me fact check myself before I start talking about her. So let's see what she says. Let's keep it up there.
And the American people know what's in it.
Okay, so she said, and the American people know what's in it. So when I hear she says that the American people know what's in Project 2025, I don't. I read a little bit, but I don't know what's in it. I do know that it's over 900 pages. That's what I know. Right? So that's a lot of pages that I don't know. It's a lot. So I don't know what's in it. So let me play the rest, and then we'll leave her alone.
We've talked repeatedly about their intention to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, now to get rid of the CHIPS Act. And let's talk about manufacturing, which is a critical issue for many of the states that will make the difference in this election. Donald Trump, when he was president, lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. We have created over 700 new manufacturing jobs. It is my plan and intention to continue to invest in American manufacturing, the work being done by American workers, upholding and lifting up good union jobs, which are good paying jobs, and doing the work of investing in American industries, including our industries of the future. That is the way we are going to win the competition with China for the 21st century, and that is the kind of leadership that America deserves in their president.
So maybe she doesn't do well in emotionally charged moments, because here it seems like it was very relaxed. She looks, I don't know if she looks tired or focused. I don't know the difference between the two in this example. But she used a little bit of what I would consider deflectionary language. Like she talked about manufacturing jobs. She talked about how these certain issues are like she'll state the obvious. Okay, for example, she'll say, we're talking about funding for these and jobs for these people, which in these states is extremely an important issue. Like I think we kind of know that those are important issues, right? So I think part of that language, I think part of the deflectionary language, and it's just my opinion, is that using deflectionary words or language, it buys you time, right? It buys you more time to think of something to come up with, whether it's true or false. I don't know if I use deflectionary words. I got to go back and listen to myself, but I find it interesting when you see the contrast between, let's use Trump and Obama, for example. Obama has a lot of words to where if you don't know what they are and they keep throwing them at you, I'm under the opinion that most people will just be like, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. I don't think a lot of people will actually grab out a dictionary and fact check a lot of those big words, because maybe they're just like, you know what, it must make sense. He sounds good. He's very inspirational. I think Trump has maybe 15 words that he uses, right? And I'm not making light or little of how he carries himself, because my wife and I've actually been to 2 conferences where Trump was the keynote speaker. And I will tell you that when he speaks outside of a political arena, he's extremely intelligent, extremely wise, very well connected to the people. And I never forget this. So I seen Trump in Detroit, and it was at a business conference. So he has this theme music. He comes out to this, I think it's Money, Money, Money. He's got these videos of him arriving. So he has this Trump jet arrive at the airport. From the airport, it takes him to, like, I want to say it's a limo to this helipad. From the helipad, it goes into this skyscraper. And so from the skyscraper, he comes down, crosses the street, and he enters our building. The crowd went nuts. Like, oh, it's crazy. And then when he started to speak, it was very surreal. Not because I didn't really know him at the time. I just knew he had a TV show. He was a billionaire. He was a keynote speaker. But the one thing that got my attention is he walked up on stage. I will never forget this. And you could hear the rustling. He has a sheet of paper, right? He has a sheet of paper. I'm doing this on purpose, just for the sound effects. But he has a sheet of paper. He pulls it up. He pulls it out of his jacket pocket. And he starts to look at it. And he looks at the people. And at the time, everybody's cheering. And then he proceeds to speak. And I never forget how eloquent he was. He didn't have this political language back then, because it wasn't required, right? But then when he showed us his notes, he says, he says, guys, I know they have these digital screens for him to look at, but he says, I got my notes just in case. And he wrote it, and he told us he wrote his notes on a sheet of paper with a Sharpie. So he has a sheet of paper with a Sharpie written notes. Okay. And I found that interesting. And you fast forward to 2024, where he's a politician, where he has to do business in one of the most nastiest, most corrupt work environments in history. I don't think we have to really go on a conspiracy theory to see that our government, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of evil things going on. There's a lot of things that we know. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian. We all can agree that there are some evil things going on in our government and some very unrighteous things. And so, anyways, for Trump to enter into this arena and to have to, I think he's doing a good job. Personally, I think he's doing a good job in the area of being authentic, at least with the crowd. So, a good example with the Cardi B, for those that were with me about 20 minutes ago, we talked about Cardi B when her teleprompter went out. It was about 58 seconds of her scrambling, not knowing what to do. I remember when Kamala Harris's teleprompter went out, she didn't know what to do. And guys, this is not a political thing. We're just talking about people's ability to handle a crowd. And I get it. Handling a crowd is one thing, and running a country is another thing. But it speaks volumes. For me, it speaks volumes about who you are as a person. If I get up on stage, and this is what I can promise you this, if I get up on a stage with, let's say, 60,000 people, I look forward to that day. I love that stuff. That's like our family business, my family business. That's what we do. We speak publicly. We have pastors. I don't know. I think we have 14 pastors in my family, teachers, pastors, business owners, but a lot of people that are kind of in the front of the building, up on a stage somewhere. And so I love that. I'm comfortable. So I can tell you this much. If I go up anywhere, not only will I be prepared, but I will be comfortable. As a matter of fact, here's my opinion, and we'll show you guys some more videos. This is part of what my opinion is. Sometimes I kind of hope that something goes wrong, not necessarily with the technical stuff, because that does stress me out. One of the things about being a pastor, and you have what we call a flow of service. One of the things that can be very stressful is for something to put a kink in the flow. But I will tell you this, for anybody that does public speaking and you have a lot of notes and you spend a week, 2 weeks, maybe spend 24 hours and you make all these notes and you put it up on a PowerPoint, you put it up on your Keynote, whatever you use, or you have all these notes. Sometimes it is a chore, it is work to go through what you want to talk about. It's work. I'll just leave it at that. And there are times when you're looking for an opportunity to just break out from what you want to deliver and just hang out with your crowd or your church family or the people and just be with them. Right? So I look forward to those moments because I like to cut up. I like to play jokes on people. I like to pick on people in a crowd. I like to eyeball somebody and stare at them while I'm talking to them, right? Especially if you're on stage and you're, let's say you're a public speaker and you find that one person and you see that they're on their cell phone, you just want to look at them and you make trouble to them. It's like, and as a preacher, as a pastor, one of the most fun things you can do is to get out from your pulpit and just walk around. Not all pastors or public speakers are comfortable doing that because maybe they're very strict on their notes. I love it. And so sometimes breaking free and trying to walk around, I love that stuff, right? So going back to the whole idea of teleprompters breaking or malfunctioning, there's a big difference between Cardi B, Kamala Harris, obviously Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. Let's just pick on Trump for a second. When his teleprompter goes out, he lets everybody know that his teleprompter broke. Right? I don't know if you guys catch that. He lets everybody know that, and not only does he tell everybody that the teleprompter is broken, he'll tell them, get rid of this. And he literally will start tearing down the teleprompter devices. And he'll also say, you know what, we're going to fire this company. So he's very, very vocal about it. And then he'll sit there for a minute and just start addressing the crowd. And so for me, as someone that is looking, if you're undecided, and we just take that aspect of a person, for someone to be able to sit in front of a crowd, teleprompter, no teleprompter, and just address them, for me, I think that's powerful because there's something legitimate about someone that's in front of 50,000 people is willing to just say, you know what, can we just stop for a second? Let's just applaud our veterans, or let's just take a minute. And then when Trump's teleprompter breaks, he's willing to say, you know what, this thing broke, but you know what, I came prepared. And he did that a couple of times where the teleprompter broke, but he said, what, I brought my notes. Remember we talked about the Sharpie? So that's why I found that funny that all those years ago when I saw Trump. So when I seen Trump, it was in 2006, I think, and 2007. I seen him in Detroit, and then I want to say it's Irvine. I want to say not Irvine. Dallas. So I seen him in Dallas, Texas, and also in Detroit. So that was a long rant about not just public speaking, but our government officials. And the title that I put up on my on today's episode, or today's show, it's coming. And when I say it's coming, I'm literally talking about our elections. I'm talking about that there's going to be a shift in our nation. Charlie Kirk, I'm a big fan of his. And like I said, fam, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, not a Libertarian. I seem to find the people on the Republican side in the area of media is concerned, I find them more entertaining. I don't feel triggered, or I don't feel upset. I don't feel like I'm gonna I feel like there's some hope left when I watch a lot of. So a good example, Charlie Kirk. I think he's the founder of Turning Point USA. Someone had asked him if Kamala Harris gets voted, will you leave the country? And then he said, well, are you going to leave the country if Trump gets voted in? Because a lot of people said that, right? They're going to move to Canada. So the guy flipped the question back to Charlie Kirk and says, you know what, are you going to leave? And Charlie Kirk says, no. Here's the difference. When a candidate gets in that I didn't vote for, the next day I go back to work. And I work for the next 4 years. And I figure out how to work, how to make it happen. And there's something I like about that attitude. I really enjoy that mindset. Right? So there's something coming, family, come November 5th. There's going to be a shift, right? There's going to be a shift in government. I'll tell you this much. There will be a shift no matter how we look at it. But as a believer, for me, and I'll share a verse, and we're going to land the plane because I think an hour is good for me on this. And I'll do some promotions. There's a verse I want to share with you, and I shared this in one of my political spaces that we did recently. And the title of that space was Should Christians vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? And this is what in the area of our leadership. So 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, it says, I urge then, first of all, that all petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people. Verse 2 says, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peacefully and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. So this scripture that we use, it's very clear that to pray for our leadership, it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Harris, both of them, pray for the both of them. And I think we've kind of gotten away from that. I think a lot of us as not just the body of Christ, but even just people that genuinely care about our nation, we should care about, whatever party it is, to pray for them. I'll share a story and then we'll land this plane. I got a chance to meet Obama. I'm going to pull it up just to flex. I didn't vote for the guy, okay? But it's okay. Let me see if I can pull it up and show you guys. Give me a second. Del Rio Greg Lopez. Del Rio Greg Lopez Trump. Oop. Okay, let's see if I can pull this up. There we go. There we go. Okay, let me pull this up. So I got a chance to meet Obama. Did I say Trump? Obama. Well, I talked about Trump. So I got a chance to meet Obama. And I won't go into details about that, but I got a chance to meet him and his family, his 2 dogs. What can I say? I met the chef. If you guys know the story about the chef, I won't go into that today. There's a lot of things that surround that. The chef was actually a very nice guy. Young. Yeah, I think Tamari was his name. Tamari, I forget. Tahari. But yeah, I met him, met his 2 dogs. In order to meet them, you have to get interviewed by their Secret Service detail. And so he stayed at the place that I was working at the time. So I used to work for a company, Paul Mitchell. So he stayed at the house there. So they're there for a month. So part of us being able to go in and out of the property, we had to get interviewed by the Secret Service. They do background checks, credit checks, all that stuff. I found it interesting they did credit checks because when I signed the form, it was very clear. It says that they'll do, full background check, credit check. I think they said soft credit check or something to that effect. And so I just found that interesting. So yeah. Anyways, I say all that, family. I didn't vote for the guy. But I respect the fact that I honored the man for the position that he took. And I respect the fact that as a body of Christ, or as a believer, I believe that to pray for our leadership. I don't believe that Donald Trump is going to be the Messiah of our nation. I don't believe that Kamala Harris is going to be the Messiah of any agendas. Or what I do believe is that no matter who gets in office, like Charlie Kirk said, I'm still going to go to work, right? I'm still going to do what I got to do, right? And I'll share this one scripture and then we'll land the plane. It's Daniel chapter 2. It says that verse 21, that he changes the times and the seasons. This is talking about God. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So just in this scripture alone, it says that, we can build all of our kingdoms. We can build all of our fortunes and our generational income, our generational wealth. We can build all those things. But at the end of the day, it's God and God alone who sets these things up. And one of the things why I talked about, if for anybody that reads the Bible, there's a story in the Bible with Esther. She was chosen by God to deliver her people that were basically enslaved. And one of the things God told her was, if you do not do this thing, I will find somebody else to do it for me. But your family, your bloodline will be killed off. And it's interesting that no matter what happens, God's purpose, and this is what I just shared, is that no matter what, God's still going to move, right? So the positive side to all of this is that no matter who gets elected into office, we still got to work. Now, for me, as a believer, someone that I do believe that we have to pray to get the right person in office. And like I said in the beginning, I am voting for Donald Trump. It's not me telling you to vote. You've got to do your due diligence, all the values. If you take the candidates out of the picture, you just look at on paper what's on the table. Whatever Trump represents, I don't agree with all of it, but it just seems to fall into alignment with what my wife and I believe in. And that's where we feel God leading us to vote for. I encourage you to do the same, but I still go back to what I said. We still got to pray for our leadership. And the second part is, no matter what the season or the time, that God removes and he sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who are understanding. I will close out with this part, is that if you're undecided, it's okay. I'm going to be doing so starting Monday, which I think is the 4th, we'll be live. We'll be doing these every day, and we're going to walk through the election cycle, right? And then we're going to cover things. And so part of my vision of doing what we're doing right now is not just connecting with you guys, but giving you guys something to look forward to. We're going to do word of encouragement. We're going to obviously bring scripture. That's part of what I do. We're going to bring in the word of God, and we're going to be open about it, but we're going to have just a regular discussion. If you come to my house, unless you come for a Bible study, we're not going to talk about the scripture and Bible the entire time, right? We're going to just break bread, get to know each other. And so that's the design of what we're doing here today. So let me play, now, you know what? I'll spare you guys some ads, because I think I'll do that once we go live on Monday. So I think that is it. I didn't cover everything I wanted to cover. Let me read my notes real quick. See if I cover at least half of it. I have these notes that I had. It covered elections, platforms. We didn't talk about social platforms so much. I tell you this. Let me talk about this before I close out. Social platforms. We didn't talk about Lily. We didn't talk about Optum. We did talk about Biden. We did talk about fluoride. Okay, we did over half. Social platforms. And we'll close that out with this. I do believe that social platforms, I think they're going to change after this election cycle. Let's pretend that Trump gets in. I think there's going to be a shift, and there's going to be a funneling of social. Maybe not just so much social platforms, but I think with media platforms. So if you guys remember, years ago, there was a lot of news stations and a lot of Hollywood studios, and now it seems like Disney owns all of them, right? I feel like after this election, if Trump gets in, there's going to be a shift in the media arena, where the people that have profited off of dishonest media practices, I think they're going to fold. And I think there's going to be a conglomerate, if that's even the word, that where those that have the financial stability and the power and authority to do so, they're gonna assimilate those that are the weaker vessels. That's what I believe. And then we're going to see that there's going to be a very small functioning body of mainstream media sources. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's true or not. Now, if Kamala Harris stays in, then I think, or when they say stays in, that means she's already in office, right? She's just going to get promoted. I think those mainstream media sources are going to stay. I think they're going to thrive. And then I don't know what are they going to talk about, because Trump was very clear, and he said that I have nothing else after this. This is going to be my last time running. So that's it. So social platforms, talked about it. We'll go more in depth with it on Monday, unless something crazy pops up. So, all right, we're going to land the plane. We're about an hour and 15 minutes in. If you're new, do me a favor. If you want to support us, I'll put it up on the screen. We'll close that with the Ocean Wave. So my name is Brother Greg, a.k.a. G-Lo. If you want to know who I am, what I do, website is links are in the bio. It's therealglo.com. If you want to support our company, there's a little QR code. You can buy products from us. So thank you for watching. You guys have a blessed day. As I always say, thank you for your time, your hearts, data, all the good stuff. And most importantly, family, thank you for your time above everything else. Love you guys. God bless you guys. Ahui ho. Aloha and mahalo. Yes, sir. Chew.
guys.